WSGO Oswego, W249BC Mattydale, W261AC Oswego, WTKWHD2 Bridgeport, ESPN Radio. This is the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick Lexus, and Burdick BMW postgame show with Giovanni Heater.
And Syracuse, though its defense did its part early on and had some momentum going early, struggled mightily on offense and just could not find itself in a competitive rhythm throughout this ball game. Syracuse ends up going 2 of 3 in the red zone, while Georgia Tech makes the Orange pay, going 5 of 6, finding pay dirt a handful of times. Haynes King was fantastic for the 7th-ranked Yellow Jackets, as he's been all season long. And again, Syracuse makes it 4 consecutive in the L column. Giovanni Heater with you in front of a jam-packed Orange Crate Brewing Company here on Marshall Street in downtown Syracuse. It appears that the students are out in full festivities. Everybody is quite literally, can't make this up, folks, wearing banana costumes. It's some sort of a pub crawl tradition that's taking place for the students up at SU, and we're in the thick of it. We're in the thick of it. So ready to break down this 41-16 loss to Georgia Tech down in Atlanta. Looking at some of the numbers here, we had already mentioned some, but when you go player by player, you know, Syracuse had some guys that did some nice things, but never really got the run game going the way that you were hoping. Some questionable play calling at times. Felt like it was a narrative in this game, in particular on 4th and short situations. Syracuse felt like it didn't catch any breaks either, which is certainly a factor to be mindful of in this ball game. But nevertheless, the Orange just couldn't get into that rhythm that they were looking for. Had the momentum early. In fact, on Georgia Tech's first drive of the ball game, Syracuse was able to force a fumble, recover it, and obtain excellent field position in Georgia Tech territory. It was Chris Peel that ripped it out, just a straight-up rip. Pulled at that football until it came loose. Syracuse ended up gaining the possession. A 41-yard Yassine Willis run later, and the Orange were down to the goal line. But 2 penalties, and all of a sudden, Syracuse couldn't find their way into the end zone, ended up with a field goal, and things unraveled from there throughout the rest of the game. That was Syracuse's chance, right, to kind of put a stamp on things. Had a chance again in the second half. Was down at the break, 20-3 the halftime score. Scored a touchdown after getting the ball first in that second half. Got into the end zone, made it 20-10. Had Georgia Tech in a 3rd down and 12 scenario, you're feeling like, okay, you just scored a touchdown on 2 plays coming into half number 2. This is kind of your shot to get back into the game, if you will. 3rd down and 12, and doesn't Haynes King make an unbelievable play? Makes an unbelievable play like he was playing jackpot, throws it up. His receiver comes down with it for the first down. Georgia Tech goes down the field, scores a touchdown, and then the Orange were right back out of the game before they could dig their way into it. So that felt like those were the 2 kind of hinge moments in this game where Syracuse might have had a shot to make things interesting. Couldn't make it transpire, and instead Georgia Tech continued to keep their foot on the gas for 4 quarters in this matchup and come out on top one more time. The final score, 41-16, Georgia Tech over Syracuse. Phone lines are open. Feel free to give us a call. 315-437-7644 is the number. The phone lines will be open. We're happy to have you air your grievances. Come on out and give your thoughts as we sit here at Orange Crate Brewing Company and break down Syracuse's 41-16 loss to Georgia Tech. 315-437-7644, the number, and you're listening to Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Syracuse.
Auburn Community Hospital, our proud support. We are the pulse of the Orange. ESPN Radio 97.7 and 100.1.
Football season is here, and so are some great deals at Burdick Ford of Central Square. Burdick Ford is your locally owned and operated place to go, with staff focused on customer service to help you find the perfect deal. Gear up for winter with a new or used SUV or truck from Burdick Ford. You want confidence that you are making the right choice, and Burdick Ford will give you that confidence. Visit Burdick Ford today, just off exit 32 on 81 in Central Square, or at burdickford.com.
When a crash throws your life off track, you need a team that gets it. At William Attar, we focus on and we know how to guide you through the tough stuff. Our team fights to get you what you deserve, so you're not stuck handling it alone. We're here 24/7, and if you can't come to us, we can come to you. Hurt in a car? Call William Attar, 315-444-4444, South State Street, Syracuse, or visit williamattar.com.
Hello, Syracuse Toyota drivers.
Now Gio's not going to go to him. All right, Gio, we're either going to have you not talking to the chat during the breaks, or I just don't think we're going to hear you. So it's okay. Everybody can complain to me, and then Gio will be back in a few minutes, though. Yeah, so we're having some issues. Orange Crate is popping right now, gang. And all those fellas in banana costumes must be streaming college football because they're using up everything that we could possibly be using to broadcast. So you can still call in. You can still talk to Gio. You can complain to me if you'd like. I can't believe that game went over. That was the most unbelievable over in the history of sports, potentially. Not actually, but. Thank you, Sport Boy. Does anybody have any hope? I feel like at this point, UNC and BC we thought were wins. Do we still think UNC is a win on Halloween? Do we still think so? If you're just tuning in, Gio will be back in about 90 seconds. So we're just having some difficulties with the internet. And Gio's not here right now. It was just another one of those, Ricky's going to put a nice little drive together at the end of the game and make it look like there's something there. I think that's just who he is and what we're dealing with at this point, to be honest. I agree, Zach. They should have tried to run more, but they just, at a certain point, were having no success. That's the issue. And then when you're just getting 1 yard every run, then you can't keep doing it. There were a lot of things I wish had happened, though. And also, let's be real, Georgia Tech just gave up some points, too. But I really would have liked to see Nixon reach the ball out on that fourth down. 1 minute, Gio. 1 minute. I understand people don't like him being in over Willis. But here's the thing with Willis, if you watch, he'll either do a jump cut in the backfield and it'll take too much time in that short yardage situation, or he won't be able to make a cut at all once he starts running. So if there's the line just in front of him and he can't push it, he's not going to get that yard. So it's kind of like, what do you do? I don't have an issue with Nixon being in. I wish they weren't in shotgun, and I wish Nixon had reached the ball out. 10 seconds, Gio.
7 at 100.1. Watch live on CuseSportsTalk.com. This is the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick Lexus, and Burdick BMW postgame show with Giovanni Heater.
41-16, the final score from Atlanta, number 7. Georgia Tech takes down Syracuse in a game in which the Orange felt like they had a chance early to kind of put their stamp on things, hit the ground running a little bit with the fumble, and then you got the big Yassine Willis run that gets you down to the 1 yard line, and the Orange unable to punch it in. After that, it was not smooth sailing for the Orange by any stretch of the imagination. 41-16, the final score. And 315-437-7644 is the number to call. One more time, 315-437-7644 is the number to call. Feel free to give us a ring. Give your thoughts on the game. Give your thoughts on the Orange. But the conversation I want to have now is what to think of this team moving forward and what to think of the season for Syracuse football at this point, because it does really feel like we have told the same story pretty much 4 weeks in a row now, where Syracuse has lost 4 straight games, and that's the bye week in there as well. It's been 5 weeks of winless football for Syracuse, and it feels like it was so long ago that the Orange took down Clemson down in Death Valley, right? And the season had flipped on its head, a season that felt like it had so much hope at that point. And what I would say to everybody that is struggling to wrap their head around this or wants to point blame, you lose your starting quarterback, these are the type of things that happen. And I understand Syracuse felt like they were in a situation that they had a great backup quarterback scenario, former 4-star, and a highly touted get out of the portal coming from LSU and all that. And yes, that is what you thought you had in Ricky Collins. But that's not the reality of what you're seeing right now. And it's been very clear that Ricky Collins was not going to cut it, which is why they went out and got Steve Angeli when that opportunity presented itself and he hit the portal from Notre Dame. And I think that if you're Syracuse, you can look at the rest of this team and realize there's a lot of talent. This is actually a pretty good football team, but you don't have a quarterback. And when you don't have a quarterback in the sport of football, you're just not going to win. And it's not really that they don't have a strong quarterback or they don't have a quarterback that can put the cape on and play hero ball. Like, no, they don't have a quarterback that is playing competent football right now, right? You're looking at a situation where coming into this game, he had thrown 7 interceptions in the last 3 contests, 8 in 4 games on the year, right? That's the level of quarterback play you're getting. Now, I do think that there were spurts of that being better today. Unfortunately, you played a pretty solid defense, though they were pretty banged up. Ricky Collins goes 17 of 29, 224 yards, a touchdown. He took care of the ball as far as throwing picks goes, didn't throw an interception. Did have the fumble, though. Did have the fumble when it felt like you had momentum going in the second half. Syracuse did find ways to run the ball a little bit today. Yassine Willis, only 10 carries, but has 76 yards. The problem is the long is the 41-yarder. That 41-yarder kind of inflates everything. You average 4.6 yards a carry. You take that out of the mix, you're more like averaging 2.8 yards a carry, which is right back to where you were the last handful of weeks, right? So kind of more like they ran for a little over 100 rather than 157 if you take the long gash out of it. And that was on the first rushing attempt for Syracuse of that series. Got them all the way down to the 1-yard line, so almost felt like Georgia Tech just wasn't ready to sink its heels in yet after they turned the ball over rather quickly. But I say all this to say that this Syracuse team does have talent, and they're going to continue to get older, get better. They're a youthful team. I'm looking at guys like Antoine Delorier, a midseason freshman All-American. Demetrius Samuel Jr. leading so many different statistical categories. The wide receiver room, the running back room. Yassine Willis, only a sophomore. Like, it does feel like you're a quarterback away. Mike and I talked about it throughout the broadcast, throughout the pregame show. If Steve Angeli's in the mix, you feel like this game down in Atlanta was putting one of these teams in the driver's seat for the ACC championship game. That's where it feels like you're at if you're Syracuse. I think this team would have been 5-2, maybe even 6-1 coming into today. Probably wouldn't have beat Duke, but the rest of them, I feel really good about Syracuse's chances if you had Steve Angeli as the signal caller throwing the football. So I think you're really a quarterback away this year, and the panic button doesn't need to be smashed quite as much as maybe the fan base is alluding to at this point. 315-437-7644 is the number to call. Give us a ring. 2 more segments as we unpack the 41-16 loss in Atlanta for Syracuse against Georgia Tech. You're listening to Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Syracuse.
Did you miss Drive Time with Tim Leonard? Well, here's what you missed.
They didn't have NIL and they didn't have the resources. Those
Hello, friends. Gio will be back. You are still welcome to call if you'd like. Here's the thing, Michael Antonio, and I get what you're saying, that we're having technical difficulties. Like, that's what's up with the feed. We're on location, and we don't have a good connection. So it was either this or we just have really choppy audio, so we figured you could at least understand what's happening if we do it this way. The thing with the backup quarterback thing is, how much money do you want to spend on a backup quarterback, and how proven of a guy can you get who isn't going to go to a situation where he can be a guaranteed starter? That's the whole point of the portal, right? Is if you're a proven player, you can go play somewhere. So I just don't think it's realistic to do much better than Ricky in terms of a transfer portal backup QB, unless you just get really lucky. Personally, that's where I stand on the whole thing. Yeah, but how much do you want to spend on that guy? And also, you got to remember, they got Ricky thinking he was that guy. And then they got Angeli. Like, they got Ricky. We're doing it that way. Why don't we give Fran credit for this? He identified that Collins wasn't good enough, and he found a way to go out there and get another guy. I don't think you can blame Fran for this. If you want to be upset about him not wanting to play somebody else, that's fine. No, Gas Geo. We're Cuse Sports Talk. We won't be showing that game. I apologize. I get it, Michael Antonio, but that was the best guy they were able to get at the time. And then, they thought it was good. And when it didn't work, that's fair. He did roll it, but that's the type of coach that Fran Brown is, right? He'll take risks. And honestly, a year ago, tell Syracuse fans that their quarterback for next year is going to be a guy who was a 4-star recruit at LSU and lost the starting job to a Heisman contender. I think that's a big step up, personally. That's just me. But they couldn't spend all of their money on a quarterback because they also had other holes to fill. Gio, you have Jake in Iowa on the line when you come back. 90 seconds. Yeah, that's another thing, Sport Boy. You could argue he rolled the dice on McCord, too. Because, yes, he played well at Ohio State, but he had a really, really good team. And he came and played at a team where the talent at that time didn't appear to be up to snuff. I disagree. I think Fran pays for his gambling debts. I do. He pays in job security. He pays in criticism. He pays in confidence that his players have in him. He pays in reputation for another career move if he ever gets fired or something. I think Fran pays. Thank you, Kev Grover, for Prez. I'm not just trying to go back and forth with one person, I enjoy this conversation. I think it's good to have, but it's not my intention. I'm happy to comment on anything. Gio also will be back in 40 seconds. And if you're just tuning in, we're having some technical difficulties over at the old crate, so we'll have Gio's audio, but couldn't do the video today. But we had a whole watch party, so if you want to see Gio and McAllister, you can go back and watch our watch party. I mean, no, Michael Antonio, he absolutely wouldn't get away with this at programs that have won national championships recently and are perennial college football contenders, but he's building a program right now, not sustaining one. I get why you're upset, though, trust me. 10 seconds, Gio.
On CuseSportsTalk.com. This Toyota, Burdick Lexus, and Burdick BMW postgame show with Giovanni Heater.
41-16, the final score in Atlanta. Georgia Tech takes down Syracuse, hands the orange its fourth consecutive loss, all coming in the last 5 weeks for Syracuse football. Oh, how the season has unraveled, and how not having your starting quarterback can really take things down if you're the orange. 41-16 the final score. 315-437-7644 is the number to call if you want to chime in and chat. And we have callers already on the line. Let's go out to Jake in Iowa, hear his thoughts on the game. Jake, how you doing, man?
Gio, thanks for taking my call. I think we
always.
It was a horrible game, but I think we witnessed a miracle. Ricky Collins threw 2 passes and led to 1 touchdown. It was unbelievable. But that's also like saying you found a diamond in a turd. You actually had to get through the turd to find the diamond. Let's watch some basketball tonight. That's all I got. Thanks, bud.
Jake, we appreciate you checking in all the way out from Iowa, as always. Means a lot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you had things humming for a second there. The funny thing about that sequence where he throws the ball out to Jonte Cook, if you watched it, and they broke it down, Dusty Dvorak broke it down with Dave Pasch on the broadcast and says, look, he was wide open from the line of scrimmage, had like 4 steps on his defensive back, and Ricky didn't see him until it was almost too late. Then he way underthrows him. Jonte Cook has to make an adjustment just to catch the ball. I mean, like, it should have been a touchdown. And Ricky still underthrows it and throws it way late, and it's just like, it wasn't good, to be honest. It was nice that they got like a 35, 40-yard pass out of it, but it wasn't great. And then the slant route on the RPO, he hits Gill, and the 2 defensive backs smash into each other. One of them, like, undercuts the other one, takes his legs out, and Gill's off to the races. Like, don't get me wrong, it was beautiful to see him score in 2 plays, and that's, to your point, the first and only time that's happened this year, where Ricky Collins engineers a quick, explosive touchdown drive like that. So it was nice to see, and it got you feeling good for a second. But then again, you go right off of that, and then the 3rd and 13, you're feeling like, okay, down 10 if we can get a stop. The 3rd and 12, the 3rd and 12. And then Georgia Tech, Haynes King ends up making an unbelievable play. They get the first down. They score a touchdown off of it, and you're right back to square one. But it was fun. I think the way you described it, a diamond was in the rough, I'll say. Diamond in the rough was a good way to describe that little spurt offensively out of Syracuse. And the other thing you mentioned, let's watch some basketball tonight. Let's do that. Let's watch some basketball tonight. You can watch it on Cuse.com. You can listen to Tim Leonard's broadcast. He'll be down there alongside the coach, Mr. Saddlin, as always, and Tim will have the call for you. You can listen on TK99. Tim Leonard has you covered, so definitely be sure to check that out. It's a 7 p.m. tip-off out in Buffalo. Exhibition matchup as Syracuse takes on Buffalo in an exhibition game. This is the first taste that we are going to get of this 2025-2026 Syracuse basketball roster. Year 3 of Red Autry, and it feels like there's a lot to be excited about, right? You look at Sadiq White. Obviously, you have Kai and Anthony in the mix. You got J.J. Starling and Donnie Freeman back. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about with the roster. Nathan George, maybe one of the best point guards in the ACC. So a lot to be excited about. Definitely be sure to check out some hoops tonight. One final segment when we return here as we unpack the 41-16 loss for Syracuse on the road in Atlanta to Georgia Tech. Last chance to give us a call, 315-437-7644 is the number. You're listening, as always, to Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Syracuse.
Did you miss Drive Time with Tim Leonard? Well, here's what you missed.
This type of
We're back. Here, I'm going to send you a thread, and you can just go through it, and whatever you think is interesting, you can just alert people of and, do the sponsor. We're beefing in the chat, baby. You know what, though? This is a phenomenal game to have some basketball on after. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that for certain. Oh, man. Anybody see any positives? How about that? I think what really hurts about this is it looked like the defense was turning a corner, and then they just kind of got destroyed. And they didn't even... Georgia Tech runs a tricky offense, right? But that was a very college-style offense. You know, it was a lot of just motion in the backfield, really working off of the quarterback, runs up the middle, short passes, leaving the 5-yard hitch routes just wide open because Syracuse was afraid to get beat deep, it seems. So Georgia Tech is a solid team for sure, but that kind of stunk in terms of the progress we've been seeing from the defense. Did you get the thread I sent you, Gio? Okay, yeah, it seemed like a very short presser. Paul, you got a caller. One sec. I don't know what he's talking. Okay, one second, Gio. You all are seeing behind the scenes, eh? Yeah, that's true. We do play a bad offense Friday, but what does that mean? Oh boy. No. Said Matt is a That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. We've been doing all the sound from here the whole time anyway. All right, guys. Fran's press conference was very short and pretty generic, honestly. He spoke with Matt Park for about 5 minutes after the game, though. So we're going to get you that. There are some quotes, but to be honest, there's not much notable. He called Steve Angeli their head Power Ranger. And he said that he wanted Collins to have the option to run if he couldn't see down the field, and that's why he ran 14 times. And that's about that. We got our boy Dave on the line. He's going to chat with Gio, and then we'll get you some Matt Park. Am I kidding? What should I be kidding about? Paul, just tell me where it is. I can open it. Okay. You're back in 10.
Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. This the Burdick Lexus and Burdick BMW postgame show with Giovanni Heater.
Final segment as we wrap up Syracuse's 41-16 loss in Atlanta at the hands of number 7 Georgia Tech. We are live from Orange Crate Brewing Company here on Marshall Street in downtown Syracuse. The Orange stumble against the Yellow Jackets. It's 4 straight losses in 5 weeks for Syracuse, and the team that looks to continue to find answers in righting the ship after the loss of Steve Angeli, who tore his Achilles down in Death Valley in a win over Clemson, what feels like an eternity ago. 315-437-7644 is the number to call if you want to chime in, and with that, we will go to the phone lines. We have Dave in Syracuse. Dave, how you doing?
Good. Listen, I know it's fashionable to kind of trash the quarterback. I get that. He actually seems to do some positive things the last few games. Unfortunately, it's when we're down by 30 points before it starts. But having said that, I mean, get the fumble early in the game, the 41-yard run to get to the 1. It was the TCU game all over again, getting nothing out of that. Was totally discouraging. But the reason for my call basically is it wasn't Collins, but the defense gets the goat for this game. They were awful.
absolutely awful. I mean, I came in encouraged after the last couple of games with whatever changes they made. But every move that Georgia Tech made, all their motion in the offense, nobody knew who to cover. It seemed like there were guys wide open on every play because nobody knew who they're supposed to cover. So I really just called in to trash the defense. I thought that was their worst performance of the year, maybe in a few years, and extremely discouraged right now.
No, Dave, I appreciate you, and you're not wrong in your sentiments there. You know, the defense, I had high hopes as well, coming back off the heels of last week where they had 7 sacks and 12 tackles for loss and did a lot of really, really good things. The one thing I would argue today is that they were just on the field way too much. Like, yes, you can't give up 543 yards of total offense, right? And I totally agree with you there. But when you're on the field for what feels like forever and the offense isn't giving you the opportunity to get that breather, and you're playing defense for what feels like most of the game, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to generate stops. They didn't force turnovers after that one, though, early on. To the defense's credit, they did give the offense a shot there, and as you said, you needed to capitalize on that opportunity. Syracuse really did not do so with a field goal instead of a touchdown, especially when you got it all the way down to the Georgia Tech 1-yard line. But yeah, the defense wasn't great. I thought the tackling is what has improved, and that's been the biggest difference that you've seen with the growth throughout the year out of the defense. But it's hard to argue your point when you give up 543 yards of offense and Georgia Tech runs it for 239 yards on the ground in this game. Like, yeah, I hear you. Defense isn't great, but you got to play complementary football. It's hard for the defense to perform well when everything's stacked against them when it comes to the offense's production and even the special teams at times where Syracuse even had a fumble, right? And then the special teams, you couldn't keep it out of the touchback range and ends up going to the end zone instead of starting a drive at their own 1. They end up getting it in better positioning and things like that. So I hear you. With that, I had the opportunity to get an audio bite for you from Matt Park sitting down with Fran Brown, part of the Learfield broadcast. They sat down post-game, and we'll air that for you now. You get to hear from head coach Fran Brown after the 41-16 loss in Atlanta. This audio brought to you by the Syracuse Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, guys, just outside the locker room with Coach Brown. And Coach, you know this is part of the job. You're not accustomed to it, but how do you work your way through this one?
Just keep fighting. Just be able to look adversity straight ahead. And we just got to compete, keep competing. And coaches keep competing, players keep competing. I just got to get everybody locked in and be ready to go and play for the next game. Was it a lack of competing today? What'd you see? No, this is a better football program. Yeah, they have a better program. Got a chance to get out and do some things. A couple plays, third downs, where we got big chances to stop them, and guys fall actually 2 times. So it's just Hanks King he outworked us today.
King almost had a 300-100 game. He was just a little bit shy in both. It seems like he didn't necessarily do a lot of spectacular stuff, but he kept plays alive. He had a couple of these throws downfield that just seemed to find the right target at the wrong time for you. Yeah, we had 2 guys fall on both of those plays that you're talking about. So nature of the business, we just got to keep pushing. Where are you, and do you really work through evaluating these guys on all this stuff? Is it a motivational type thing? I mean, you say you got to keep cracking at it. You obviously have all these games remaining to keep plugging, but what do you think is the biggest lacking issue at the moment? You just got to make your play when your numbers call. Mm-hmm. It's being able to make the play, and some of the moments is too big for some of the guys, right? Just the mindset, and it's the talent-wise, it's the year, the age, the youth, the experience, some inexperience, some experience that shouldn't make some mistakes they make. And it's overall, it's myself making sure I'm putting them in the right position to be able to make those plays, right? So I just think it's the entire program that has to continue to grow. Yeah, it's another one of these games that felt like SMU in some ways, where you, in the opening possession, you get down there, you take advantage of the short field with the takeaway, and you had to get points there, which you did. You didn't get 7, but you got 3. Another turning point is a failure on short yardage. Yeah, we jump off sides. We shot ourselves in the foot. Being able to do that, there was some things also I seen of like, why did we stop the clock? Hold us up when it was fast, but we just shot ourselves in the foot. We can't do that. Like
get a run, and then we'll jump off sides or move or to new center. It's just a bunch of stuff, right? It's a lot of things.
Well, if it was one thing, it'd be easier to fix, right?
Yeah, right. New center, new quarterback. The way things are going, it's just a different move. But we'll be fine. We just got to keep working.
Correct me if I'm wrong. When I see what's trying to happen in the kick return game, both kickoffs and punts, you got guys that are trying to make plays, right? It's not working out, but they're trying, right? Is that indicative of the rest of the team and the feel here that everybody wants to be the one who's going to solve it?
I don't know what you mean by that, trying to make plays.
Well, you could just take touchbacks, and you're not, and they're not, right?
Because, on the getting past the 25, if you get to 26, 27, just certain times you feel you'll be able to get it. So it's like taking a touchback if it's kicked right to them. Let's go and compete and let's work, right? Let's keep working on those things. As long as we get into the 25, it's the same thing, but it gives us the opportunity of working on blocking and catching. They're freshmen back there, right? Mm-hmm. So the more reps they get, it's better for them rep-wise come year 2, year 3 for them. Now it's like clockwork, but just standing back there and constantly getting a fair catch. They never get a chance to do it or to go block live and being able to do that. So for me, it's about reps. The more reps they get live, the better they'll be down the line when we get the opportunity of being in this game, and this game being a big game for us on both sides, right? Not just on one side. I just think they're more mature program than we are right now, right? They're more experienced. They got a quarterback who's been in college 6 years. Mine's played 4 games. Mm-hmm. So it's a bunch that goes into play. So they're just a better program. They did a good job today. Coach Key had that staff ready to go. Him and Coach Buster and all those guys. I'm just proud of them, and I'm happy for them.
Big thing for your team is next time won't be the first time. You're working on building that up. Let's just finish with your evaluation of the quarterback position today. What'd you see in terms of Ricky's strengths and weaknesses?
And he's trying to get better. We just got a lot of stuff to still work on and keep working on. He's trying to get better. We just got to be able to keep a drive alive.
Is 41-16 loss down at Atlanta to Georgia Tech. That, of course, brought to you by the Syracuse Sports Network from Learfield. Final thoughts here to wrap up Syracuse's 41-16 loss to Georgia Tech down in Atlanta. Again, I mean, it's a lot of the same old stuff we've been saying. Clearly, Steve Angeli made that much of a difference on this team. One of the quotes that came out of the press conference from Fran Brown, the way he put it, these are his exact words, is Steve was our leading Power Ranger, and we're without him. We have to keep working, keep finding ways, but most importantly, keep working. The thing is I have zero doubt that this team will keep working. I think Fran Brown has established a culture where this team will continue to work. That bench does not seem to be lost. The locker room in no way seems to be lost. The people he's bringing in, when you look at the recruiting news that's coming out, it's felt like the norm to have high-level, high-caliber players want to come play at Syracuse. That's become second nature at this point in a short time while Fran Brown's been the head man in the Cuse. These losses do not seem to be deterring recruits in any way. If he can continue to recruit the team he has, continue to reel in talent, this is a prime example of what a quarterback can and cannot do for you in the sport of college football. Folks, they're going to be fine. Unfortunately, it feels like this is a season that, as a fan base, you just kind of have to chalk up. I'm being told we have one more call, so we'll go to one more caller, and then we'll wrap up the show here. We got John in Atlanta. We'll bring on John. Final thoughts here. John,
yeah,
how you doing?
I was at the game. Yeah, it looked a lot worse in person. It's easy on the TV to be like, well, this is, there are a lot of things in the game that you pick up, and there are a lot of things that Ricky Collins just doesn't do well that, I hope that they can work on. I just want to talk about how, like, in the offseason, Coach Brown was talking about how there was this big competition between Angeli and Collins. Like, was there really? I mean, it's clear Angeli was the guy from the beginning. I mean, it just makes me wonder, like, what was really going on there. Also, like, the defense today was just awful. I mean, yeah, granted, the last couple weeks they've been playing a little bit better, especially on their rush D. But I mean, like, some of their secondary plays were just terrible today. They didn't even look like they knew what they were doing. Yeah, I mean, it's a lost season. Obviously, with Angeli out, it's tough, but still, it doesn't take away the fact that it stings to, see a loss like this again.
Yeah, no, I feel you, John, and appreciate you chiming in there. No, I agree. I think that there's a lot of validity to those who are upset saying that this quarterback competition was clearly not as close as the fan base had been alluded to, right? Fran Brown said how close of a competition it was. It's neck and neck. It's 51-49, he kept saying, right? And it's obvious that I think that wasn't the case. That's why they went out and got Steve Angeli. Those questions have sort of answered themselves. But what I will say to people that are upset with Fran, and I'm not saying you are, John, but I've seen a lot of people on social media and in our chats and stuff saying, we're mad at Fran. He lied to us. I thought he was transparent and this, and that. Like, guys, what did you want the man to do? At the end of the day, we don't know the exact dollar amounts and the figures, but Ricky Collins is making a lot of money to come here and play on this football team. So is Steve Angeli. There's part of that thought process, I'm sure, that Fran, is that you're trying to show the donors and validate the amount of dollars that are being allocated to a certain player. That's part of that process. I think there's also just the thought of, like, you're trying to make your team as confident across the board as possible, because as you see, you're one play away from Ricky Collins having to be the guy. If you get him to come here and you all of a sudden just break the trust you had established with him, saying, like, yeah, he's not our guy, he's not good enough, this and that, like, no, I think Fran did exactly the right thing. In a perfect world, you people would have never seen how much Ricky Collins would have struggled, because Steve would have never got hurt and this question mark would have never been answered, right? So I don't blame Fran at all. I think he did the right thing. I don't think he lied to anybody. I think he put his team in a position where they could feel confident across the board and have faith and have buy-in in what the product on the field was going to be this year. And more than anything, he's going to have those guys working. So those that are upset with Fran about how the quarterback situation was handled in the offseason, I don't think that there is a reason to feel that way. Fran's the guy. The ship will be righted, but it might be a buckle-up time and get ready for basketball season around here. We're not going to do that, though. We're going to talk about Cuse football throughout the week right here on Cuse Sports Talk. You'll have Orange Nation, as always, noon to 2. You'll have drive time from 5 to 6. And then I'll have you covered pregame and postgame, watch parties, all of the above throughout the rest of the year. Next week, we are back in the Dome. Friday night, North Carolina in town. Halloween football between Syracuse and North Carolina. We'll see what that looks like as Syracuse still tries to fight and find a way to win 3 more games, get to bowl eligibility, but really just win every game they can and continue to improve, because there's still a lot of football left to be played. 4 games left on the docket. That'll wrap up our show today from Orange Crate. Thanks so much to Orange Crate Brewing Company for having us out. It was a fun one. Thanks so much to all of you who tuned in all day long. Today's show presented, as always, by Point Guard Advisors, Charles Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical. And, of course, our Improving the Team, brought to you by Auburn Community Hospital. Auburn Community Hospital is improving their team. Apply today at auburncommunityhospital.org. Thanks so much to all of you. For my guys, Jordan Capozzi, Paul McCoy, making the show happen behind the scenes, our excellent, top tier, top of the line producer right here on site, our engineer, and Tim Becker. Thank you guys. The magic doesn't happen without you, and I appreciate you. I'm Giovanni Heater saying so long from Orange Crate. 41-16 the final score. Georgia Tech takes down Syracuse, and we'll talk to you next week.
This is Orange Nation.